Hey guys, so you ready for today's April 3rd, 2021, 1:25 a.m. Central Time. So I've been talking about this on my Patreon account with my Elite Patriots, wondering what the hell the end game is with this border, okay? This wide open border situation we're having, taking in all these wonderful kids and family units and whatever, okay? It's like illogical what is happening on our southern border. And even worse, what we're doing about it. But I think I have figured out what is happening. And I don't like to deal in conspiracy theories on my channel. Obviously, I have my own, but I do have theories, and I will deal with theories on my channel. So here we go. I was talking to James about a bunch of different things. Politically. And this leads into it. Follow me. We were talking about how ridiculous, unnerving, irritating, disappointing, whatever, scary, how easily people last year and to current are willing to not only just roll over and do whatever they're told, but now they're able to get people to do their bidding for them. Meaning, everybody, all these politicians and shit, everybody wants you to get vaccinated, right? Well, now people are having conversations out there saying the vaccinated, okay, are wanting to forcefully vaccinate the unvaccinated, if you want to call it that. And that's ridiculous. That is a whole other ballgame of bullshit that I'm not even willing to go down. I cannot believe people are even considering that, talking about that, joking about that, anything of that nature. That goes beyond the Constitution. That's just a whole other world. But the fact that we've gotten down to that road shows you how stupid our population truly is and how weak they are. Okay? That's the key word, weak. If, with all these bills and stuff that are passing, this all has to do with the border, calm down. With all these massive trillion-dollar bills and they're passing with different programs that are going to completely change the way everything functions. I mean, everything in this so-called, whatever you want to call it, infrastructure bullshit bill that sounds as though it's just, I'll use one of their terms, reinventing the economy and basically reinventing our way of life, okay, is what that bill actually is doing. They will cause and are going to create a society, okay, follow me, and a lot of people are already realize this, a society that is dependent on the government, right? They want to redo healthcare and put money towards it and, expand Obamacare, blah, blah, blah. Subsidies that give everybody free money. And all these little counties and shit are doing it now in states. Oh, hilarious. What a joke. Giving illegal immigrants and incarcerated individuals in New York almost $20,000 plus for, quote, missing out on what they could have had during the pandemic. Whatever. New York, anyway. So, and everything is being torn apart by race, way more than I ever thought. Talk about going backwards in a weird way, too. Very weird way. So basically what I'm trying to say is everybody's going to be suckling off the government. Nobody's going to be working, okay? And that's where when I was talking to James, a light bulb went on. Because I was saying, how are these people going to, why are these people wanting to create a population completely dependent on the government 100%? Because they will not have an income. Like, for example, in other socialist countries, people work the crops and do all kinds of stuff. The government comes in, takes the product, sells it, and gets the money, and the person gets nothing. You can't do that, okay, if your entire population is suckling off the government tit and not working. Especially, and that's where this end game comes in, especially when the current population really isn't the one working the fields to begin with. Finally figured out what the Democrats' end game is regarding the border, and it's to replace us. They're bringing in children by the thousands. Thousands. God, there's like 100 some odd thousand kids here, and it's only April of 2021. This asshole hasn't even been in office for 4 months yet. And being from a border state most of my life, we are not at peak season yet for immigration. There have been reports, supposedly, that over 100,000 children are headed towards our border. These kids are coming from around the world in poor countries, shitty situations, okay? So they're bringing them here as children to bring up the next generation. We will be dying off. I'm not saying this is an immediate situation. This is like, it has to be. It would need to be a long game. But they're bringing in a young generation to train them. They are now teaching them, literally teaching them, teachers from California who are not teaching in school to their own students are now going down to the border, getting paid for it, and teaching illegals, okay, in person. I'd like to know the criteria and the curriculum they are teaching, by the way. So let's put some cameras in those fucking schools, makeshift schools. But they are, a lot of people like to say that, you know, FEMA camps, re-education camps, blah, 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 like, put, you know, us getting shoved in them. And I've always kind of giggled about that stuff, and I still giggle about it. I don't think that that's really realistic. But what I did think and do think is that, no, they currently have education camps. They're not going to try and do anything with us. They're going to break us into nothing, get rid of the constitutional how do you want to say it? Everybody in this country, regardless how stupid you are, literally, you have some sort of concept of the Constitution and freedom. The people that are coming up into this country do not. They don't know what freedom is like. They do not know what, many of them don't know what it's like to live without fear in their lives. We do. They need to exterminate that thought process and that generation in order to bring in a generation they can completely control in a different way. The people that are crossing the border right now are the ones that currently, no joke, everyone should know this, work the crops in this country. They come in for ag, okay? They're literally like, there's temporary workers that come into this country for agriculture, and then they take off. We are more, Americans have grown, if you want to call it that, grown beyond those jobs, and more importantly, are not willing to do them, which is exactly why those illegals or legals, whatever you want to call them, come up from the border to do those jobs. Period. Now. So they're getting rid of the extra person in the way. Why would they continue to support a population they cannot ultimately control? Because we all have ingrained in us a portion, at a minimum, of freedom in our hearts when they can take new people and groom them the way they want to, that they can start from square one. All these facilities that are being opened up, they've opened up a 10th facility. Oh God, keep it going. There's going to be like 50 or 60 or more facilities of these kids that are going to be opened up. These are education camps. They are not holdings. HHS has kept thousands of children past the legal law they should have. They're only allowed to have these kids in custody for 72 hours. They have been there for days, if not weeks, and the Justice Department is not doing anything about it to enforce it. They're opening up these facilities, and they will be sending down more teachers, and they will be educating these people from the ground up. People who don't know what it's like to be free. People who don't know what a First Amendment is, a Second Amendment, these children have never had a weapon in their hands before unless they're a teenager and they're a gangbanger or something, which they'll be helpful too, I'm sure, to help control the population and keep them, scared, because they don't want to give anybody freedoms once we have been replaced. In order to stay in power and continue their wealth, they will need these illegals to do what the current illegals are doing now, with us out of the way, if that makes sense. So they are replacing us. That is my theory. Like I said, it's not an immediate thing. They're not going to go around and exterminate us or anything. We're not going into re-education camps. And this is, again, my theory, like it or not. But what we do have on this land, known as the United States of America, are 10 very large, I shouldn't even say large facilities, because not all of them are large facilities, very packed facilities that are education camps for the people crossing the border. I absolutely think that's their end game, to get rid of the current population, the current freedom-loving, whatever it is in your way, even if you're a liberal, crazy-ass motherfucker that just wants to take everybody's freedom away, okay? You still, in your warped little itty-bitty brain and heart, still understand what the Constitution is and have somewhat of a freedom in you, okay? They want to get rid of you, too, because you'll be a problem eventually as well. So that's my theory, because there's no logical reason why this border, there's a difference, okay? There's a severe difference between having open borders and having basically a call to arms, okay? I don't know exactly what is being said in these other countries, that they are literally shipping these kids from overseas to South America and then having them come up through our southern border. I don't know what's being told around the world, that, hey, besides the U.S. is open. Something else has to be being said here. But beside the point, this is a not you're just welcome, but please come. We want you. Just like they said, don't come now. That's what they're saying now, right? Because it's a little too late. Too little, too late. You're an idiot. You fucking wanted this, and now you're getting it. And it's on their terms, not yours. That's what it is. But they're saying you can come, just not yet. Well, what does that tell you? They're wanting this to happen eventually, right? It's just happening under different circumstances, probably way faster than they anticipated. But it's happening. And it was gonna happen. Because the Don't come yet is going to turn come on in. And right now it's, I guess you can come in because we don't know what else to do with you. There's too many of you. You will overrun us. And hey, you are now turning yourselves in. We now have signs where to fucking go in this country to turn yourself in. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. They are absolutely attempting to replace the American population with a population that is foreign, does not understand the Constitution, freedoms. They don't understand what not living in fear is like. They understand what hard work is. They understand what poverty is. And they are willing to live under a safer situation than where they were and work their asses off to provide for their government. That's the type of people and what is going on. That is my theory. That's their end game. Get rid of the American population and replace it with the population that I just explained. I don't know how else to explain it if you don't understand that. But yeah, a light bulb went off. I was like, oh my God, that's how they're going to stay in power. That's how they're going to feed themselves. Because otherwise, everybody's so lazy in America, they're just going to be sitting there sucking off unemployment and any other welfare program that exists. They're not going to be working. We're not going to go back to the fields and start working stupid shit and, growing whatever it is you're growing. There's only, no, especially my generation and the generation that's behind me. No, they're a bunch of fucking idiots, okay? And they are mouthy and they're not going to work for anything. That is evident already. So what do? You support them until they disappear, and then you don't have to deal with them. Period. This is Are You Ready For It? Take care, guys. Have a great morning.